My fiancé said, "Those guys, they're married. I was just helping them experience being with a woman. It was like charity." She could twist any betrayal into a noble act and convince herself she was doing good while shattering me. My 32M fiancé, 29F of 5 years, cheated during her bachelorette trip. I have video evidence. Wedding is in 2 days. She has no idea I know. I'm Jack, 32, project manager in Chicago. Been with Julia for 5 years. Wedding is this Saturday. That's in 2 days. I'm sitting in my car outside a 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. because I can't go home. Can't look at her. Can't look at the wedding dress hanging in our closet. Can't look at anything. 6 hours ago, I got a text from an unknown number. "You should see what your fiancé did in Miami." The video was 3 minutes and 42 seconds long. I know because I've watched it. God, I don't know how many times. I have it memorized now. Every laugh, every touch, every word. Here's what I saw: Julia in a hotel room that definitely wasn't the one she showed me when she FaceTimed. 2 guys I've never seen before, one tall, dark hair, the other shorter with a beard. All 3 of them were. Look, they weren't just talking. Julia was sitting between them on the bed, and she had this look on her face I'd never seen before. This hungry look. But it was what she said that broke me. One of the guys asked if she was sure about this, mentioned something about her getting married soon. And Julia, my Julia, who I've loved for 5 years, who I was going to promise forever to in 2 days, she laughed. Actually laughed and said, "What happens in Miami stays in Miami, right?" Right. Then she kissed him, both of them, and the rest. I just can't describe what happened next. I'm still shaking as I write this. My best man Tony came over after I called him hysterically. He watched the video once and just said, "Brother, I'm so sorry." He didn't try to explain it away or suggest maybe it's not what it looks like, because it's exactly what it looks like. The wedding is Saturday. That's the day after tomorrow now, technically. All our family is flying in. The church is booked. The reception hall, the flowers, the photographer. Her dress is hanging in our closet next to my tux. The rings are sitting on our dresser. And Julia is sleeping in our bed right now, completely clueless that I know. She came home yesterday acting totally normal. Showed me pictures from the beach, complained about sunburn, talked about how much fun she had with the girls. Kissed me and said she couldn't wait to be my wife. I nearly threw up. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. I moved into the guest room and told her I wasn't feeling well. She bought it because I probably look like death. Reddit, what do? Do I confront her? Do I cancel the wedding? Do I wait until after to deal with this? I have no idea how to even begin unraveling this nightmare. The worst part? I keep thinking about all the things that make sense now. How she was weird about me seeing her phone before she left. How she insisted on a girls-only trip when originally we talked about doing a joint bachelor-bachelorette thing. How she got a new bikini and lingerie for the trip, but told me I couldn't see them because they were for Miami only. Miami only. Jesus Christ. I need advice. I need someone to tell me I'm not losing my mind. Because right now, watching that video on repeat, all I can think is, how many other times? How many other Miami moments have there been that I just never found out about? 3 minutes and 42 seconds. That's all it took to destroy 5 years of my life. Update 1. Hey Reddit. It's me, the guy whose fiancée had her own little Miami Vice situation 3 days before our wedding. First off, thank you for all the messages and comments. I read every single one, and honestly, you all gave me the strength to do what I had to do. So, where do I even start? The wedding was supposed to be last Saturday. Instead, I spent Saturday morning in a lawyer's office and Saturday evening helping Tony move my stuff out of the apartment Julia and I shared. Let me back up and tell you how this all went down because it was something. Thursday night, 1 day after I got the video, 2 days before the wedding, I made my decision. I couldn't sleep anyway, so I spent the whole night packing my essential stuff while Julia was out doing last-minute wedding prep with her mom and sister. I left the engagement ring on her pillow with a note that just said, "I know what happened in Miami. The wedding is off." That's it. Clean, simple, no room for interpretation. Then I drove to Tony's place and sent a group text to every single person invited to the wedding. Due to unforeseen circumstances, tomorrow's wedding between Julia Thompson and Jack Carter has been canceled. Sincere apologies for the short notice. Unforeseen circumstances. I mean, technically true, right? My phone exploded. Calls, texts, voicemails. Julia must have called me 40 times in the first hour. I didn't answer any of them. But I listened to the voicemails and they were something else. First one, Jack, what the hell, call me back right now, this is insane. Fifth one, baby please, whatever you think happened, we can talk about this. Don't do this to us. 10th one, Jack, you're scaring me. My family is already at the hotel. People are flying in from out of state. You can't just do this. By the 15th voicemail, she was crying. But here's the thing, she never once said, I don't know what you're talking about. Never once denied anything. She knew exactly what I meant by Miami. Saturday morning, what should have been our wedding day, Julia showed up at Tony's apartment. I watched through the window as she banged on his door for 10 minutes, screaming my name. She looked terrible. Still in the clothes from the night before, mascara streaked down her face, hair a mess. Tony answered the door and she pushed past him, saw me sitting on his couch. The first thing she said was, Jack, it didn't mean anything, it was the alcohol and the girls were all pressuring me and I was nervous about the wedding. Notice what she didn't say? She didn't say it didn't happen. I finally spoke to her then. First words I'd said to her since feel better when she asked why I was sleeping in the guest room. I looked her right in the eye and said, 3 minutes and 42 seconds, Julia. She went white, like actually white. And that's when I knew she knew exactly what video I was talking about. She knew someone had recorded her little Miami moment and she knew I'd seen it. How did you? She started, then stopped herself. But that was enough. That was all the confession I needed. The conversation that followed was, look, I'm not going to lie, it was brutal. She cried, she begged, she tried every angle she could think of. It was just kissing, it wasn't. It didn't mean anything the way she looked at those guys said otherwise. She was drunk, she seemed pretty coherent in the video. It was a mistake that lasted 3 minutes and 42 seconds. But the worst part? When she realized none of that was working, she got angry, started yelling about how I was throwing away 5 years over one stupid night, how I was embarrassing her in front of both our families, how I was being dramatic and unreasonable. Dramatic. She called me dramatic for not wanting to marry someone who cheated on me 3 days before our wedding. That's when I showed her the video. I'd never seen someone's soul leave their body before, but that's what it looked like. She watched for maybe 30 seconds before she started hyperventilating. Literally hyperventilating. Tony had to get her a paper bag. When she could breathe again, she said something that's going to stick with me forever. Jack, please, I can explain, it's not what it looks like. I asked her to explain, and you know what she said? Those guys. They're married to each other. I was just helping them experience being with a woman. It was like charity read it. She called cheating on me charity work. I laughed. I actually laughed because what else can you do when someone you loved for 5 years says something that insane? That's when she realized it was really over. No amount of tears or explanations or charity work stories was going to fix this. She left, but not before saying something that really showed me who she actually is. I hope you're happy, Jack. I hope this was worth ruining both our lives over 3 minutes of nothing. 3 minutes of nothing. That's what 5 years of love and trust and building a life together was worth to her. The aftermath has been a lot. Both our families are devastated, obviously. My parents are supportive but heartbroken. They genuinely loved Julia. Her parents, well, her dad actually showed up at my office Monday morning threatening to sue me for breach of contract and emotional damages. Apparently, I embarrassed the family and cost them thousands in non-refundable deposits. My HR department had to escort him out. Some of our mutual friends are taking sides. A few of Julia's bridesmaids have been messaging me saying I'm an asshole for not working it out and that everyone makes mistakes. Others have reached out privately to say they're proud of me for standing up for myself. But the craziest thing, 2 of her bridesmaids have reached out to tell me this wasn't the first time. Apparently, Julia has a pattern of pushing boundaries when she drinks and is away from me. They never said anything because they thought she'd grow out of it after we got married. Grow out of it. Like cheating is a phase, like acne or bad fashion choices. But here's the thing, I thought the worst was behind me. I thought I could just move on, rebuild my life and put Julia in my rearview mirror forever. I was so wrong. Because what happened next made the Miami video look like a warm-up act. Update, the woman who sent me the video reached out through Instagram. Her name is Valerie and she's married to one of the guys from the video. We're meeting for coffee tomorrow. Not romantically, I need time to heal, but I want to thank her for her courage in reaching out. and something tells me she has more to tell me about what really happened in that hotel room. Update 2 Reddit, I'm back. And honestly, I thought the Miami video was going to be the worst part of this whole nightmare. I was so wrong. Quick recap for anyone new: found video of my fiancé with 2 guys in Miami 3 days before our wedding. Cancelled the wedding. Moved out. Thought the worst was behind me. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. So 2 weeks ago, about a week after my last update, I get a call from my mom. She's crying, which immediately freaks me out because my mom doesn't cry. Ever. I'm thinking someone died. Jack, honey, she says, I just got off the phone with Julia's mother. Julia's pregnant. I'm sorry, what now? Apparently, Julia had called both our mothers to break the wonderful news that she was carrying my child. She told them she was about 8 weeks along, which would put conception right around mid-July, coincidentally just a few weeks before her Miami trip. She said she hadn't told me yet because she wanted to surprise me after we got back from our honeymoon. But here's the kicker. She told our mothers that this pregnancy was why she was so devastated about me abandoning her over one mistake. She was carrying my baby, and I was too stubborn and cruel to forgive her for a moment of weakness in Miami. I'd like to pause here to appreciate the absolute audacity of this woman. She cheated on me, I found out, I called off the wedding, and somehow I'm the villain because she might be pregnant. My mom asked if I wanted to talk to Julia about the baby. I told her honestly I had no idea Julia was pregnant, and given what happened in Miami, I had serious doubts about paternity. That did not go over well. My mother was horrified that I would accuse Julia of such a thing. My dad had to take the phone because my mom was crying too hard to keep talking, but here's where it gets really insane. Later that same day, Julia calls me directly for the first time since the confrontation at Tony's apartment. Jack, she says, and I can hear she's been crying. I need to see you. We need to talk about the baby. I agreed to meet her at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown. I brought Tony as backup because honestly, I didn't trust myself not to lose my mind. Julia looked terrible. I mean, genuinely awful. She'd lost weight, had dark circles under her eyes, and kept fidgeting with her purse the whole time. She ordered a decaf coffee and made a big show of saying, because of the baby, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Then she hit me with the speech she'd obviously rehearsed. Jack, I know you're hurt. I know I made a terrible mistake in Miami, but we created a life together and that has to mean something. This baby needs both parents. We can work through this. We can go to counseling, we can rebuild trust, but please don't punish our child for my mistake. It was a good speech, I'll give her that. If I didn't know Julia as well as I do, I might have been moved by it. But I do know Julia. And the Julia I know doesn't say our child and both parents unless she's trying to manipulate someone. So I asked her the question that was burning in my brain. Julia, are you absolutely certain this baby is mine? The look on her face. God, I wish I could describe it. It was like watching someone realize they'd walked into a trap they'd set for themselves. Of course it's yours, she said, but her voice went up about 3 octaves. How can you even ask me that? Because, I said very calmly, 3 weeks ago you were intimate with 2 other men in Miami. So forgive me if I need some certainty before we start talking about co-parenting. That's when she completely lost it. Started screaming in the middle of this coffee shop about how I was a monster, how I was abandoning my child, how I was going to regret this for the rest of my life. But Tony, God bless Tony, he just sat there and said, so you'll take a paternity test then, since you're so sure. Julia went quiet, like dead quiet. The entire coffee shop was staring at us. I shouldn't have to prove anything, she finally said. You should trust me, I laughed, actually laughed out loud. Trust you, Julia, I have a video of you cheating on me 3 days before our wedding. What part of that interaction suggests I should trust you about anything ever again? She left after that, but not before promising that I would pay for abandoning my responsibilities. Here's where the story takes another turn, because apparently Julia's definition of making me pay was telling literally everyone we know that I'm a deadbeat dad who won't support my own child. She posted on Facebook about being a strong single mother whose baby daddy chose pride over family. She told our mutual friends that I was demanding a paternity test because I wanted an excuse to avoid child support. She even called my boss to tell him what kind of man he was employing. My boss, by the way, told her to never call his office again, and then took me out for lunch to make sure I was okay. Good boss. But the social media campaign was working. I was getting messages from people I hadn't talked to in years, telling me I was a piece of shit for abandoning a pregnant woman. Julia's bridesmaids were posting about men who run when things get difficult. Even some of my own relatives were questioning whether I was handling this the right way. So I called Julia and said, fine, let's do the paternity test. Let's settle this once and for all. She agreed, but she had conditions. She wanted to wait until the baby was born because she was concerned about the risks of prenatal testing. She wanted the test done at a lab of her choosing, and she wanted both our families present when we got the results. Every single one of these conditions was designed to give her more time to manipulate the situation, but I agreed anyway. I figured I could wait 9 months for the truth if it meant finally putting this to rest. But then, 3 days later, I get another call from my mom. Jack, she says, Julia lost the baby. I'm going to be honest with you, Reddit. My first emotion wasn't sadness. It was relief, which probably makes me a terrible person, but there it is. I was relieved that I wouldn't have to spend the next 18 years co-parenting with someone who'd already proven she couldn't be trusted. But something about the timing felt off. So I did something that probably makes me paranoid and crazy, but I called the girlfriend of one of the Miami guys, Valerie, the one who sent me the video originally. Valerie and I had stayed in touch after that coffee meeting I mentioned in my last update. She's actually become a really good friend, someone who understands the unique hell of discovering your partner's infidelity through video evidence. I asked Valerie if she could reach out to Julia, pretend to be sympathetic about the pregnancy and miscarriage, and just see what she could find out. What Valerie found out is that Julia was never pregnant. Not even a little bit, not for a day. She'd bought fake pregnancy tests on Amazon. Apparently you can buy those, who knew? And she'd been taking photos of the positive results to send to our mothers. She'd researched pregnancy symptoms and was faking morning sickness when she talked to family. The miscarriage was her exit strategy when she realized I wasn't going to just take her word about paternity. When Valerie told me this, I felt something I hadn't felt since the night I got that video, pure, white-hot rage. This woman had put our families through the emotional trauma of a fake pregnancy and a fake miscarriage. She had tried to manipulate me into taking her back by pretending to be carrying my child. She had made our mothers cry over a grandchild that never existed. I screenshot every fake pregnancy test photo she'd sent to my mom. I got a statement from Valerie about their conversation, and then I sent a group message to both our families with the evidence. Julia was never pregnant, the pregnancy was fake, the miscarriage was fake, she bought fake pregnancy tests and lied to everyone, I have proof, this ends now. The fallout was nuclear. Both our mothers called Julia immediately. Her own mother was so angry she drove to Julia's apartment and confronted her in person. Julia's dad, the same one who threatened to sue me, called to apologize. Julia's response? She doubled down, posted on social media about how I was a sociopath who was harassing her during the most difficult time of her life. She claimed I was making up evidence and that the miscarriage was real. But the fake pregnancy test photos were time-stamped and geotagged. The conversation with Valerie was recorded with Valerie's permission. The evidence was undeniable. One by one, Julia's supporters started backing away. Her bridesmaids stopped posting supportive messages. Our mutual friends stopped taking her calls. Even her own family started distancing themselves. The last message I got from anyone in Julia's camp was from her sister, apologizing for everything and asking if I was okay. But the story doesn't end there. Because sometimes, when you think you've finally closed a chapter of your life forever, fate has other plans. And sometimes those plans involve running into your ex-fiancée in a coffee shop a year later, where she says the words that finally set you free. Final update coming soon. There's one more piece to this story, involving a chance encounter and the closure I never thought I'd get. Trust me, you're going to want to read what Julia said when she realized who she'd really lost. Edit. For everyone asking about legal action, my lawyer says what Julia did might constitute fraud, but pursuing it would cost more than I'd likely recover and would keep me tied to this situation longer. I'd rather just move on. Edit 2. Yes, Valerie and I are being careful. We're both in therapy individually and we're taking things very, very slowly. We bonded over shared trauma, but we want to make sure any relationship that develops is healthy and genuine. Update 3. Hey Reddit. Jack here, final update to the 3 minutes and 42 seconds saga. Almost exactly a year since that video, and I thought this story was over. But life had one more twist. Last Tuesday, grabbing coffee before work, I hear, "Excuse me, Jack, Julia," but completely different, thinner, no makeup, jeans instead of designer clothes. She looked like someone who'd been broken down and rebuilt. Can I talk to you just for a minute?" We sat down and she hit me with something I never expected. "I owe you a real apology," she said. "I've been in therapy for 8 months. And I've learned some hard truths about myself." Deep breath. "I was a serial cheater, Jack. Miami wasn't a one-time mistake. It wasn't even the worst thing I did to you. There were others, multiple others. I convinced myself that as long as you didn't know, it wasn't really betrayal." Even though I'd suspected, hearing her confirm it was brutal. "How many others?" I asked. "Does it matter? Too many." She was right. One was too many. "The fake pregnancy was my lowest point," she continued. "My therapist helped me understand that I don't know how to be in relationships without manipulating and controlling. I've probably never been in real love because I've never been honest enough for real love to exist. This wasn't the Julia I knew. The old Julia would have found a way to make herself the victim. I'm not saying this because I want you back," she said quickly. "I know that's impossible. I'm saying it because you deserved honesty from me a long time ago and I'm finally capable of giving it." Then came what I needed most. "That video, what happened in Miami, that wasn't about you not being enough. It was about me being broken in ways I didn't understand. You were a good partner, Jack. You deserved better, and I'm sorry it took losing you for me to realize how badly I'd been failing you." That was my closure, not forgiveness. I'd already done that for my own peace, but confirmation that our relationship's end wasn't about my failure. "Thank you," I said, "for being honest." "Are you happy?" she asked. "Yeah," I realized. "I really am. I'm glad. I hope you find everything you're looking for." No drama, no confrontation. Just two people who used to love each other acknowledging they'd both moved on. Walking to my car, I realized something. For the first time since this started, thinking about Julia didn't make me angry or hurt. Just peaceful. So where am I now? Valerie and I are together, and it's the healthiest relationship of my life. We took things incredibly slowly, didn't even kiss for 6 months. Both having been betrayed, we understand trust differently now. We moved in together last month and talk about the future in ways that feel real and honest. Got promoted to senior project manager. Turns out rebuilding your life from scratch is great preparation for complex construction projects. Still in therapy. Had some patterns of my own to work on, ignoring red flags, prioritizing peace over honesty. Family relationships stronger than ever. They showed me who really has my back. I deleted that video months ago. It was holding on to anger, and I didn't want to carry that anymore. 3 minutes and 42 seconds changed everything. But not how I thought they would that horrible night when I first watched Julia in Miami. They didn't just show me who Julia was. They showed me who I was, someone who deserved honesty, had strength to walk away from something that looked perfect but felt wrong, who could rebuild from scratch and come out stronger. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is the best thing. It just takes time to see the difference. Thanks for following this journey, Reddit. It's been hell of a year, but I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Final edit. Tony and I had a divorce party with all the non-returnable wedding food. Weirdly therapeutic. And yes, I kept the tux. Final edit 2. Valerie says hi. She's been reading these with me and says your comments helped her process her own experience too. Trauma bonding can lead to beautiful things when both people commit to healing.